morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Bronx Queens Bros podcast, better known as the BQB podcast. I'm Big V. We got Big D. We got Jack B. And before I get back to you guys, can I just say one thing? The Mets are absolutely horrendous. They are just an atrocity to the sport. They are like a $500 million team that's playing worse than the Oakland Athletics. It's just horrible. Horrible. I'm doing horrible on this Monday afternoon. It's just god-awful. Dave, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing good. I had a good weekend. My family came down to visit me, so that was always good. But V, let's take a deep breath. We'll get into it a little more because we do have something exciting to say. This episode is going to air on your birthday.
Wow.
So everyone can say happy birthday to Big V. Maybe it'll make him feel a little bit better because he came in real hot right there. Made me a little uncomfortable, but let's see if we can do better going forward. Jack, how we doing?
Doing good. V, happy early birthday. Excited for this episode. We're gonna review some series that didn't go our way, but a little bit nice for the Yanks to play pretty good with the Rays. Not so nice for the Mets, and their struggles continue. We're gonna get into our segments, and then we're gonna preview some series as we always do on the BQB.
Now, these are my brothers right here. I just want to say thank you for the early birthday wishes. But as you all know, this episode is sponsored by one of the best kept secrets in northern New Jersey. Engineering and Design Concepts, a small company doing big things. They specialize in product development, manufacturing, and test equipment. If you or anyone you know need assistance in that field, they are the company you need to contact. The link to their website will be in the description below. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I may came in a little hot there. I'm not going to apologize because this is just such a tough team to watch. This is really bad. It's really bad. Mets lose 2-3 against the Rockies after just being swept against the Tigers. That's going one win and 5 losses against two dwellers in their respective divisions. Oh boy. So Friday night, the only highlight probably of this entire series was Kodai Senga going 6 shutout innings against the Colorado Rockies, and the bullpen pitched very well. Robertson, Smith, and Ottavino got the save. Nimmo with the solo shot. That was our only run as we won 1-0. Offense still was looking really, really bad, but we were able to squeeze out a win, which is something I like to see. I don't really care how you win. Just win ball games, and they were able to win this one. Very promising from Senga. It's looking like he's becoming the real deal. Still walking too many guys. That's what's preventing him from getting, deeper into these games. But 6 innings was nice to see. Then we flip right into Saturday. We had Tyler Big Drip McGill. Didn't really have it. He didn't blow the game, but the offense was garbage again. 2 runs on 7 hits. Mets end up losing 5-2, which, that's just, I don't even know what to say. Marte looks lost. Vogelback, listen, he ended up hitting a solo shot in the Sunday's game, which I'll say in a second, but he doesn't do much besides walk and hit a bloop single, and he's doing great. He got a 280 average, a 400 OBP, but out of a DH, I want more thump. I don't care to have a 400 OBP when no one else in the lineup's doing anything. You kind of want, you want the ball to be driven. Alonso still looks a little lost. Lindor's off to a really interesting start where he's 5th in the National League in extra base hits, but he's batting .222. He has 27 hits so far in the year. 17 of them have been for extra base hits. Very weird stat line there, but his OBP is .330. So he's taking his walks. I think maybe it's a little bad luck involved. His hard hit percentages is pretty good. So I'm wondering to see if maybe that's going to start maybe swaying in his way. And then Sunday comes around. Mets ended up, finally getting some runs. Brett Beatty moved to 5th in the lineup, which was nice to see. And right away in the first inning, he got a 2-run single. And that was good to see. But then, Vogelback got backpicked on that same play. Mets pitching just was atrocious here, just abysmal. About 13 runs to the sad Rockies. who I know they just swept the Brewers and now just took 2 out of 3 from the Mets, so I guess they're playing pretty well. But it's the Rockies, they're not a good team, so you can't have them do this. But it happened, and the Mets lost 13-6. Tough series, really tough.
Yeah, tough series for the Mets. It seems like, that offense still can't really get going. Just still a little bit inconsistent. Great to see Kodai Senga, though, look like the real deal, which, we kind of both alluded to before the season how, if he could be a certified, a number 3 pitcher that, can eat some innings for you guys and really pitch good down the stretch, you guys could be a really, really good team. And we've yet to see Verlander, Scherzer really excel in their roles so far. Injuries and suspensions are some of the reasons for that. But let's get right into this Yankee series. And I was kind of impressed with them because, they looked pretty good against the Rays. I have to say, I did say before the series I'd be happy winning one game, and I'm gonna kind of roll with that. Although, I think if a couple things go the other way, we could have swept the Rays, which I think is great to say, especially without our best 2 hitters and, our probably second and third best starting pitchers. Our bullpen continues to be outstanding. I think we have the best bullpen ERA in baseball, which is great. On Friday, we ended up losing 5-4. Brito started. He was just really outmatched with this Tampa Bay lineup. Rosarina hits a homer in the first. They rally in the second, score another, a couple more in the third. You're looking at a 4-run deficit, but the Yankees battled back. Gleyber hit a double in the sixth, and then Harrison Bader, who's looked great so far, really barreling up a lot of baseballs, hit 3-run home run to tie the game. Wander Franco ended up winning the game in the 7th inning with a double, but tough loss, 5-4. Not too worried about that. I'm happy that we fought back. Game 2, Domingo Germán, once again, pitched great. He really did. He pitched great. We ended up winning 3-2, thanks to DJ LeMahieu double and a Harrison Bader single. I can't really overstate how well Harrison Bader's been for this lineup. He's been a huge difference, and it's great to have an above-level hitter, another one in the lineup. And I would have said this series was outstanding, but then yesterday happened, and oh man, what a disappointment it was. Garrett Cole was on the mound with a 6-run lead. He's looked so good all year, and he blew it. He blew the game. Fleming pitched for Tampa Bay, and it was kind of apparent they were just letting him go. We got off to a 6-run lead, and they weren't even taking him out of the game. They were keeping him in. They were kind of saying, we don't want to tax the bullpen anymore. Just pitch as long as you can. And, he got out of some jams late towards the middle of the game. And then in the 5th inning, it was kind of apparent that Cole he's either tired or just did not have the stuff he was looking for. Started off with a home run from Siri. Then it was a couple errors and just misplays in the field by our defense that led to another run. Then there was a ground rule double to make it 6-3. And then, you could just, I don't know. I know it's easy to say in retrospect, but I just saw he did not seem to have it. And Aaron Boone just didn't make the move to take him out of the game. What happens next? Bethancourt 3-run home run tie game. Then we end up losing the lead on a chopper back to the pitcher, which Jimmy Cordero, I don't know, took 10 years to field the ball, then lollygagged it over to first, and Jose Siri scored from second on a chopper back to the pitcher. End up losing the game in the 10th inning on a walk-off single by Paredes. Just a tough game, man. Being up 6-0 with your best pitcher on the mound, you never want to lose that game. And, the offenses looked good. I know not a great starter, Fleming, or he's not too overpowering, but I thought it was good that we battled and, saw some life from the offense, but tough to only win 1 out of 3 when you play that well, offensively. So, yeah, that's really all I got. Dave, any thoughts from the series?
Well, Jack, I want to give you a quick shout out for being an optimistic New York sports fan. We don't see that often, so everyone, round of applause for Jack. I'm not going to be as optimistic. I agree with you going into the series that like if you could take one away, I'd be happy with that. But that one should be the game that Cole's on the mound. And
Yeah.
when that's not the game, and you had an opportunity in that game, and it seems like Yankees are just losing these games that they should win a little bit too often this early on in the season, it's a little hard to be happy about that. So I think the fact that they lost in that nature, um, obviously they got one, which is good, but they could have won the series against the Rays, and that would have been huge. That would have been a huge vote of confidence for the Yankees, especially when reinforcements are coming. They have guys out, very prominent guys out, and yes, the offense is playing well, but you got to finish games, and it's getting annoying to see. So hopefully they figure that out going down the stretch. But I want to pose a question to both you guys, but mostly to you, Big V. Um, Kind of thinking about it. It's early May, and long season ahead of us. But again, guys, we are now sports media personalities. We have to overreact, and we have to pretend like everything's the end of the world. So V, I'm gonna make a statement, and I pretty much want you to, share your thoughts on my statement. Mets fans should be significantly more worried about their team than Yankees fans. What are your thoughts?
I'd have to agree. I have to because I got to say the Mets are pretty much healthy right now. Besides, like honestly, like Jose Quintana, that's a big arm, in innings eater and all that stuff. Mets are relatively healthy. Their full lineup is pretty much there now, even with the two young studs and Beatty and Alvarez actually doing well. The lineup's looking okay, sometimes. But the starting pitching has been really, really bad. Like it just keeps worrying. I said it last time. No one's getting deep in games. Nobody is pitching that well either. Like the bullpen has been great, but they're getting overused, and you could tell come yesterday, Sunday, you can't even use your top guys in the bullpen because they're being used all the time. And look what happened. Like the bullpen just went to shit. The Yankees, they got Stan out, they got Judge out, Rodon's out. Like I know the Mets are missing Diaz too. That's a guy, I'm not saying, but the Yankees are missing two of their biggest. Well, I know Donaldson's out too. I don't want to shit on him, but they're missing two of their biggest offensive people in their lineup, and they're looking okay. And even though their offense is struggling, it's because they're missing two big bats. Mets aren't missing two bats because of an injury or anything. They're not performing. And it's really early, and a weird stat that I know off the top of my head is the last 4 years, except for 2020, because that was a weird season, the NL team that went on to make it to the World Series come this point in May all had a losing record. Still really early on to be that worried. Ask me that question again in 6 weeks to see if I'm really flabbergasted and really starting to spit out some bad words. But I am more worried than I think if I were a Yankee fan right now, since I'm a Mets fan. I'm definitely more worried.
Oof. V, you make some great points, especially just because last year the two teams that made it to the World Series, Phillies and Astros, two of the least used bullpens in the regular season. So those starters were going late into games, kind of a old school little, more of an old school sort of thing where the pitchers were going late into games. Obviously, Justin Verlander, Aaron Nola. We know that Joe Girardi had that kind of old school mentality of throwing the starter, 7, 8 innings. So obviously, him getting fired. But yeah, I think you make a good point of just how the Mets are going to need their starters to go longer in games. And yeah, I think that kind of speaks to the youth of the Mets, them having to use guys like Joey Lucchesi and guys like Tyler McGill and really relying on them to win big games where, they didn't really have to do that last year. But I'm going to have to agree with you. I think this series kind of put things into perspective for me as a Yankee fan that, I know we lost 2 out of 3, but we hung in there with the Rays at full strength, granted not facing their best of pitchers. but without our best two hitters, and we hung in there. We won game by one, we lost two games by one. We lost in extra innings on a walk off. We did pretty well against their bullpen too, which I was very impressed with. That's kind of their strong suit right there. And our bullpens pretty much looked lights out. I would also like our starters to go deeper into games. I know our starter ERA besides Cole is about like 6, like 5, something kind of ridiculous. But I think if you're a Mets fan, you have to be a little bit more concerned just because of, how reliant this lineup is on two guys, which, the Yankees lineup is as well, but and just how the pitching has not performed the way you would like, right? And that's why the last year's Mets team was so good, is because DeGrom, Scherzer, when they were healthy, they were lights out for a majority of the year. And it was like back-to-back wins you can almost guarantee, right? Because they were pitching so well. And then that kind of rubbed off into some of the other guys in the rotation because your starting pitching was great last year and your lineup was hitting. Not very much power, but you're getting on base, you're working the count, all those little things that I don't really see as much this year. But like you said, long season, still would not be alarmed. Like the Cardinals, if you're a Cardinals fan right now, you're alarmed because they look god awful.
They don't look like the Cardinals.
No, but I think even the Mets, like you 2 out of 3 with San Diego.
Right? Yeah, we beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3. We beat the Padres 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
and we had a really good series against the Braves. Kind of how the Yankees Tampa series went. It actually was every game was pretty close. It was a very good series. It seems like the Mets are playing up to the good teams and down to the bad teams, and it's frustrating because it makes no sense to me.
That is frustrating, and I think that kind of speaks to the offense just kind of being, I don't know, kind of waiting for a big moment, waiting for the next guy, kind of waiting for a big hit, which isn't really coming. And that's a tough feeling, as a hitter to just be waiting for or feeling like you have the pressure to, hit the 3-run home run in the 7th inning because, you have 0 runs. That mounts on you game after game. So,
oh, yeah.
We'll see. I'm sure they'll be okay. They just have too many vets, too many good players, and even good hitters to not be all right. But I think both teams will be just fine in a month or so. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, you got that right.
Dave, you want to answer your own question?
It wasn't really a question; it's a statement because I do believe that Mets fans should be more worried, and you guys pretty much captured it. Perfectly. Gotcha. It's what I was thinking about this morning. So I wanted to pose it to you guys. And V, I appreciate the honest answer.
Yeah, of course.
V, going right back to you. You came in hot this episode.
I did.
And it's time to get
down,
well. Let's get you hot again. It's time to cook up the hot stove. What do you got for us, Viton's hot stove?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to Viton's hot stove. And on this edition, we do not have a Mets player. We have, in fact, a Yankees player, Harrison Bader of the New York Yankees. Welcome to Viton's hot stove. You came off the injured list and have looked awesome. You are batting .389, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 runs scored, played really good defense. He's looking like the player exactly how every Yankee player thought he was going to play as soon as he came off the IL. He's been a little bit of a savior, honestly. He had the game-winning hit or home run, and then he had the big hit the other game. He's been playing really, really well. That's one piece the Yankees lineup is missing. The other should be coming, and that lineup could really start to form. But Harrison Bader, congratulations. You look awesome. Hopefully we see you on the hot stove yet again. Congratulations.
Wow, V, that's awesome. Just no Mets on the hot stove, but a Yankee. I can't recall a time in history this has ever happened.
No better time than his birthday,
Wow, what a time to be alive, truly. Now let's turn down the heat a little bit. Let's get into the jack off really quick. We got a couple names for you here, and V alluded to them before. We got a Yankee and a Met today, so Starling Marte. I mean, he has been awful for the Mets. He really has been. He's hitting 213 right now. On base percentage below 300, not good. Slugging percentage below 280, absolutely horrendous. An OPS plus V of 60. Now, I really think this guy's got to be injured still, banged up, not 100% in some capacity. I would have to believe that. I know he's 34 years old, but I don't think he's hit the wall unless I'm completely wrong. He's been a well above average hitter pretty much his whole career. Last year he posted an OPS plus of 132, which is just spectacular, especially for a corner outfielder that's not really known as a power guy. Go ahead, V. You have something to add?
Yeah, no, I'm going to completely agree with you on the fact that I'm convinced he's not healthy. If you watch him run, field, swing a bat, everything looks very uncomfortable. It doesn't look like him. I don't know what's going on. He's still stealing a couple bases, but I don't know if he's playing through something. If he is, I hope he isn't. But then again, I kind of hope he is because something's not making sense here.
What was the injury where he slid into the base? Was that a neck?
It was a neck issue.
So, yeah. I mean, those, you're probably, a little bit worried about that. But, yeah, even striking out a lot. And he's not even a big strikeout guy normally, kind of uncharacteristic. And, he's been caught stealing 3 times, which is, pretty uncharacteristic for him as well. Yeah, I mean, 2021, he was only caught 5 times in 120 games, and he's already been caught 3 times. So I don't know, just kind of weird for him. Almost more of a motivating segment for Starling. Hopefully he's all right. Hopefully he can play better. Hopefully his better days aren't behind him because I think he's, I don't think he's hit the wall. I think something's going on there. Now for the Yanks, it's going to have to be Garrett Cole. And I hate to do it because he's been so good for us. He's been a horse. He's been that guy. But you cannot blow a 6-run lead to a division rival.
That's all I got to say. It's because this guy's been the ace of your staff.
Okay,
I get it.
It's not. I'm not going to do a full-on Brian Cashman level rant about Garrett Cole. There's levels to this, V. It's more of a motivation. All right, Garrett, you got the stinker out of the way. No more of that. Let's just keep it going. You've been carrying the team. Let's get back more to the carrying than the giving up 6 runs. You just can't. That's a game, like Dave said, they needed that game. That would have given them so much confidence heading into. I think they're playing the A's next, so just not. That I just feel like that would have been a perfect game to win. You're getting Judge back on Tuesday. So much momentum, and you just got to find a way to not give up that 3-run home run. I'm fine with 6-3. Just walk the guy or ask out of the game. He didn't look like he had it. And I know Cole's not one to ask out of the game, but go ahead.
This is my problem. I don't think that game is on Cole. I think that game is on Boone. You got to take Cole out when he was struggling. You just said it. He didn't have it. You got the lead. You still have the lead. Bring in the next guy. Your guy lost it. I'm all for letting your starters go for it. But when a guy does, and he doesn't have it.
Yeah,
they
right.
They take out Domingo Herman when he's fucking dealing, but Cole's struggling, and they leave him in there, and look what happens. Something just doesn't make sense. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know. I could hear him saying if he got asked in the press conference, "Oh, Garrett's our horse. He's our ace. We're gonna ride with Garrett any day of the week." That's just something he would say, and I kind of despise the notion that all of this is Boone's fault because I think it takes away of the blame. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I think a lot of fans are quick to blame Boone for a lot of things. And I think Cashman pulls a lot of strings. He makes a lot of calls, and he has a lot more to do with what goes on the field than a lot of fans think. That's what I'm thinking.
I'll agree to that too.
And, I think a lot of the Yankees' issues come down to the roster construction. So I'm not going to blame Boone for that. But, yeah, I mean, Via, I don't really have a great argument against what you're saying. I just think, Garrett, you just got to keep the ball in the yard. Even I don't know. There was a horrible pitch too. Slider 0-0. It's like a get me over slider, or I might have been a cutter, just spun right over the zone. I'd rather Garrett just challenge him with a fastball. If he beats me, he beats me. Like I would be more okay if it was a fastball he hit out. It just kind of grooved the slider. I don't know. Not a fan there, but that's all I got. Not really a too harsh of a segment today, Dave. More of a motivating one, inspiring. We're trying to see a little bit better out of our teams. Hopefully, this week is a good week for both teams.
I'd like to cut in real quick, actually, Dave, before we get started. I would like to come out with a hot take / prediction of what's going to happen. So, as we all mentioned, tomorrow is my birthday, May 9th, greatest day of the year. You said Judge is coming off the IL?
That's correct.
Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso will both go deep on Big V's birthday. The two home run kings of New York.
Little parlay, V?
Well, I'm going to book that parlay. I'm going to put a nice penny on that one because
Okay.
I'm going to be celebrating.
Okay.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you.
Very good. Hey, I'll be rooting for you because your happiness is my happiness, V. Usually I feel kind of dirty. My segment's always right after the jack off, but Jack, yours was so inspirational today. I'm actually feeling like I could go run a marathon or something. So let's get into Big D's Big Odds. Jack was last week's winner for the weekly challenge. He won by one line. So Big V, happy birthday to you. Next episode, you got to wear a Yankees hat. Wow. This episode and going forward, I'm going to do something a little interesting. So for the listeners, hopefully you guys are following us on Twitter, because if not, you're missing out big time. About an hour before the episode, I tweeted out all my lines, and here's what I'm going to do, fellas. Here's what I'm going to do. If you agree your line with the majority of what the fans say, you're going to be awarded half a point. Okay? Just throwing that out there. Add a little element and give some power to the fans. All right? So you really got to follow us on Twitter. Vote along, stay active. It'll be a lot of fun, and you can really mess with these guys. And that's why I do it, you know. That's what we're here for. All right, so let's get into it. We got a new week ahead, and we are going to start with our big loser, Big V.
Shoot.
All right, V. The Yankees pitching staff is fourth in the league in strikeouts at 330 on the year so far. They got a 3-game series coming up against the A's. And I'm going to set an over-under line on 30 and a half strikeouts for the combined pitching staff.
Whew.
So they average 9 per game. 3 games would be a 27-run average. But the A's, not the best team, Jack. Not the best team.
Definitely not.
So we'll see.
Who you guys got pitching? Cortez, Schmidt. Who am I missing?
Burrito.
Yep.
I'm going to take the under.
Cool. Thanks. Jack?
All right. Expert analysis right there from V.
As always. I mean,
I guess I'll roll the over, kind of hoping the fans here on V's side and I can get a full point for trusting in my Yanks.
All I know is that the A's are pesky little bitches. So they may suck, but they don't strike out a lot. That's all I'm saying.
That's all right. There, no problem.
There we go.
I'm not saying the Yankees aren't winning the series, but
Clark Schmidt legacy game. Calling it here.
Clark Schmidt no hitter. You heard it right here, folks.
Could you imagine? All right, Jack. The Mets pitching staff has given up 52 home runs on the season, which is actually the third worst, only trailing the White Sox and the Athletics. So they got an upcoming series against the Reds. I'm going to set an over-under line on their home runs given up at 3.5. Now, they do got some dogs on the mound starting these games, V. You got your 1, 2, 3.
You got our three best: Scherzer, Verlander, Senga.
Or the thing is, the top dog might be Senga, if we're being honest, the way they've looked.
I won't argue anything you say there, but
Let's
So
see
they're
here.
averaging a home run and a half per game. So
Home run and a half per game. Wow.
half a home run.
Oof.
That's basically a double.
Oh man, I mean, not really a lot of power coming from the Reds lineup. We got is Tyler Stevenson? He's healthy, I hope. Yeah, who's even leading them? TJ, is this TJ Friedel? Yeah, he's leading them with 3 home runs. Lord. All right, I'm gonna have to go under here. I'll take. This will probably be an agreement with the fans and with V.
oh, big time. We're gonna agree here. We're taking the under. So there's a weird thing. Max Scherzer is apparently dealing with some type of discomfort injury type deal, but he said he's feeling a lot better. I don't know what's going on.
Discomfort, lack of pine tar.
Maybe. You never know. Verlander, I think, is going to have a fantastic start. I think he's going to eat up the Reds. And Senga, I think he's going to build off his last start. So I will easily take this under with happiness.
All right. If the fans vote for over, I get half a point. I don't know what that goes to, but it'll make me feel good, that's for sure. All right, V. We've talked about this a lot. Jack is very happy about this stat line. The Yankees are dead last in doubles on the season with only 42. They're averaging just a touch over a double a game. So I'm going to set an over-under line, again, against the A's, at 3.5 doubles for the Yankees.
We're going to smack the over on this one. I think the
Ooh.
Yankees offense is going to do well. I think Judge can have a very big series off the IL. Bader's still swinging nice. DJ can hit this pitching. I'll take the over.
Dave, you want to know why we don't hit that many doubles? It's because we have a lot of players that are fat and they like to watch the ball when they hit it, and then they don't run hard. So for those reasons, I'm gonna have to go with the under.
Oh, very nice.
Wow, doesn't believe in his own team.
I think we'll just end up hitting the ball over the fence. You know.
That would be
It's a
nice.
big ballpark. It's a big ballpark. That's all I'm saying.
We're home.
Oh, I thought you were in fucking Oakland. Oh, I'm an idiot.
I don't think so. yeah, we're home.
I was wondering why you
Oh.
said Clark Schmidt no-hitter. Now, if it was in Oakland, I would say yes. In Yankee Stadium, I don't know.
I'm still sticking with my bet. Don't worry.
Legacy game. Legacy game.
All right,
Still
Jack.
saying no hitter.
The Mets offensively are in 5th place with walks, 133 on the season. That's a 3.8 average per game. I'm going to set an over-under line at 12 and a half walks for the Mets in their upcoming series.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to take the over here. They're facing some shit pitchers on the Reds. Even some of the best Reds pitchers like Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, they walk a lot of guys. Don't have the best control yet in their young careers. So, gonna go with the over.
I'm going to take the over here as well, but I'm telling you guys this right now. Nick Lodolo is going to have a fucking amazing start against this Mets offense. Mets don't hit lefties.
Oh, that's right.
Mets don't hit lefties well, ever. And he's got weird motion. I'd be very shocked if the Mets offense does well against him. But I'm still going to take the over because they got some, I don't even know, nobody pitching the first game. So I can definitely see a lot of walks happening.
Very good. All right, so this last one is not a combined effort, but you'll see. V, you're going to go first since you were the loser, and it's the 5th one.
Oh.
So interestingly, the Yankees and Mets are both tied. Well, they're tied in 21st for total bases on the season with 438. Pretty incredible. After 35 games, they got 438 total bases. So simple question, who is going to have more total bases in their upcoming series? the Mets or the Yankees?
Oh man, talk about two should be great offenses going up against two should be bad pitching staffs. The Mets are in Cincinnati. Oh, God, screw it. Let's just go with the Mets.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with my Yanks.
Yeah.
Don't really have much to add besides the Mets offense right now is kind of putrid, so maybe that continues. Not really super analysis here. Just Yanks. Go Yanks, you know.
It's a
You
bad
guys,
gambler.
you guys really are geniuses. I love it. All right, hey, that wraps up this episode. This segment of Big D's Big Odds. Real quick before we wrap up the episode, again, we got the Yanks squaring up against the A's. Jack, I'll go to you real quick for your thoughts, impressions, questions, concerns. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, need to take 2 out of 3. That's really all I'm going to say here. Need to take 2 out of 3 at the very least. If not, a sweep. Hoping Judge looks good when he comes back. He seems like earlier in the year he was having trouble going the other way, which was kind of odd because it's one of the things he does best. He was kind of pulling on everything, kind of pulling off with his chest a little bit. So that'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he looks good. Hopefully he cuts down the strikeouts because he was striking out an awful lot. But it really comes down to we got to take 2 out of 3 here, at least.
And V, we got the Mets squaring up against the Reds for a nice 3-game series. Don't look too pessimistic. Let's be like Jack. Let's be a little optimistic. It's your birthday. Give us some good news, good vibes on your birthday. What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, the Mets have to win the series. Like they have to. I mean, you're throwing your top 3 pitchers in the rotation at a very bad team in the Cincinnati Reds. And if you don't take 2 out of 3, I will be very annoyed, very worried, very mad. Scherzer's got to pitch good. Verlander's got to pitch good. And Singer's got to pitch good. Now, I'm not saying we're going to definitely win, but I'll be mainly looking at to see if those 3 starters can go 6 innings at least and pitch well. And hopefully the offense hits. I'd love to see a sweep here. I really would. But I'll take a series win.
One thing quickly, and maybe we could talk about this for a couple minutes, but V, what do you think to the notion of if you guys get swept or lose 2 out of 3 with your best 3 pitchers starting, Buck Showalter gets fired, or there's people in the media who are calling for his job, like he's officially then on the hot seat. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's a tough statement there. Buck won Manager of the Year last year. He's a really good baseball mind. He's made some choices I'm not the biggest fan of, but I do trust Buck, and I can't blame a lot what is going on him. Like, I don't know if it's his call to make on who gets to call up from the minors or that
Probably
stuff.
not.
I don't think it's his. I think it's Epler and all those other guys. Because I guarantee if it was Buck would want Mauricio and Vientos up, and I think that whole lineup changes. But Buck's not the one who's pitching right now. And I got to say, like, the bullpen usage has been pretty good. I got to say, like, the bullpen has looked really, really good, and I think it's the way he's used them. And if Verlander and Scherzer and Senga shit the bed, I can't really blame that on Showalter now, unless Showalter goes out there and makes some really head-scratching moves on
Right.
either the lineup or the bullpen moves or something along that lines, or taking out a starter,
Yeah.
whatever.
I was more looking at it from the angle of like, maybe they, or not they, but the pressure makes Cohen think like, maybe they need a new voice, right? A new voice in the clubhouse. We hear that a lot with baseball managers being fired, just because the manager doesn't do as much as they did years ago, right? So it's almost like kind of like the Joe Girardi effect last year. He gets fired, Robbie Thompson steps in. A little bit of a different message, but basically the same baseball philosophy, right? They're good friends. They're like very similar in baseball mind. They didn't really make many changes, but almost like a little bit of a spark. And then the Phillies catch fire towards the end of the year, make the World Series, and the rest is history. So
I wouldn't be against seeing Showalter like get tossed, like just flip out on an umpire for literally no reason, and fire up his team. Like, oh, my
yeah,
manager's just out. He hasn't been thrown out as a Mets manager yet.
really,
He wasn't thrown out once last year and hasn't been thrown out this year. I would love to see if maybe like the first inning of tomorrow's game or second inning, third inning, there's a bad call. Just see him flip shit for fun. Fire up the team. Do something to generate some energy into that fucking clubhouse. Like, do something.
that's one thing that
they need
you
a jolt.
can't hate on Boone for. He has his players' backs. Like he'll lose it and get thrown out. He does it a lot where he'll just like think that we need a spark, and then there'll be like a borderline strike call, and he'll just kind of like lose his mind. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
Savages! My batters are savages!
yeah.
Well done, as always. That's a interesting question you posed there, Jack, and I guess only time will tell. But thank you guys, as always, for sharing all your baseball knowledge with us and with the fans. And real quick, V, they can find us on Instagram.
You can find us on Instagram at BQB Podcast.
And Jack, I know you're still posting the talks on the daily. Why don't you let the fans know where they can go see all your work?
BQB Podcast on the top.
And if you listen to us to this point, it's pretty much mandatory that you go and follow us on Twitter now, because you have to play along to these big odds. The polls expire by midnight the day this is aired, so go on and vote. You can also listen to us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google, Amazon, blah, 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 blah. If you like us, tell the cousin who is closest to you in age, because they will like us too. I almost guarantee it. As always, thank you guys. Happy birthday, V. We'll catch you next time.